Bit of background. I was overweight starting in middle school and then gained a lot more weight in college. I lost about 75 pounds towards the end of college with the help of the weight loss subreddit and have maintained my goal weight, give or take a few pounds, for the last 6 years. I still keep track of my calorie intake to help myself stay healthy, so I'm very familiar with the energy content of most foods. Anyway, I was out to lunch with my friends, and one friend was talking about how she wanted to start getting back in shape. She felt like she had been putting on weight since she had her baby a year ago and wanted to get back down to her pre-baby weight. I recommended Reddit since it helped me, which she seemed interested in. But our other friend Jules jumped in and made her second guess whether she could or should lose weight at all. Jules claimed to our other friend that eating too little might actually be the problem, that the body will hold on to fat when it thinks you might be starving. She said something like, "I dieted too hard a few years ago and gained weight, and now I can't eat more than 800 calories a day without gaining." Now, I really didn't want to start a whole argument because I know it's a contentious subject, and the belief that starvation mode equals fat retention is very common, even if it's not true. But Jules is quite active and athletic herself. She likes indoor rock climbing and goes to the gym regularly. Being able to do all that and maintain her current weight, like 180 to 190 pounds probably, on a steady diet of 800 calories a day, is just not happening. I tried to redirect the conversation a bit and reassure our other friend that she could lose some weight if she wanted and wouldn't have to do anything drastic. But Jules took that as a call-out. She asked me if I knew what I was talking about, and I said yes, I do actually, and you can't make yourself overweight by undereating. She asked if I was calling her a liar, and I said along the lines of, I can guarantee that you aren't eating 800 calories a day. That's a very low amount, too low, and it would have led to you being underweight. She said she had a slow metabolism, and I was just like, that is really not how that works. No one is telling you how to live your life, but you're telling, other friend, stuff that isn't true when she just wants to get healthy. Things are tense now, and I just hate being in this position. I hate calling someone a liar, especially about such a personal matter, but it's just not true that she has to eat 800 calories a day to avoid weight gain. It's mathematically not possible, and I don't want our other friend to be getting a bunch of misinformation right off the bat. I'm not even really saying she's lying. She might genuinely believe it, and that's not like a moral failing or anything. But if I see someone being told something that is blatantly wrong, that also makes them feel disempowered to reach their own goal, I feel like I should say something in as nice a way as I can. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the jerk at all. Eating fewer calories than you burn leads to weight loss. I do understand that lots of people find it hard to work out exactly how many calories they burn in a day, but it's definitely not going to be 800, even if she's just sleeping all day. Comment 2. Not the jerk. Starvation mode exists but doesn't stop one from becoming emaciated if they continually undereat. I'd usually say you're the jerk in these situations, but someone could have been directly affected by what was said, so it had to be corrected. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a month since I last posted about the lunch with my friends and the whole diet debate. I wish I could say things have cooled down, but boy, have they heated up instead. So after that lunch, my friend who wanted to lose her baby weight decided to give Reddit a try, despite Jules's advice. She's been doing great, actually. She's lost a few pounds, and she's feeling more energetic. But Jules, well, she's not been taking it so well. Turns out, Jules has been keeping tabs on my friend's progress, and has been bombarding her with messages about how she's harming her body. She's been sending her articles about crash diets and how they can mess up your metabolism. It's been stressing my friend out, and she came to me for advice. I told her to keep doing what she's doing if it's working for her and making her feel good. But here's where it gets really crazy. Jules invited us over for a dinner party at her place. It was supposed to be a sort of peace offering, I guess. When we got there, she had this whole spread of super high-calorie foods. I'm talking deep-fried everything, creamy pastas, the works. She kept pushing us to eat more, saying things like, "See, you can eat whatever you want and not gain weight." I was polite and had a small plate, but I could tell she was watching me, almost like she was trying to prove a point. After dinner, she pulled out her phone and showed us her calorie tracking app. She had been logging everything, and she claimed she was still eating around 800 calories a day. But the numbers didn't add up. There were days she'd logged a single apple for lunch, and a handful of almonds for dinner. It just didn't make sense with her activity level. The night ended with Jules getting really defensive when we questioned her logs. She accused us of ganging up on her and not supporting her lifestyle. It was uncomfortable, to say the least. Now, remember how I mentioned Jules is into rock climbing? Well, she's been bragging about this new difficult route she's been trying to conquer at the gym. She's always been competitive, and she's been working on this for weeks. She even posted a video on her social media of her almost making it to the top, but then slipping and falling. She laughed it off, but you could tell she was frustrated. Here's the jaw-dropping part. Last week, she finally did it. She made it to the top of that route. But instead of celebrating, she posted this long rant about how no one believed in her and how she proved everyone wrong. She even threw some shade my way, saying some people are too obsessed with counting calories and don't understand real strength. But karma has a funny way of working things out. A couple of days ago, she posted another video. This time, it was her at the gym again, trying the same route. She got to the top, but as she was showing off, she lost her grip and fell. She wasn't hurt, just a bit embarrassed. But the comments on the video were all about how strong she must be to climb like that on such a restricted diet. People were skeptical, and they started asking questions. It turns out, one of the gym trainers saw her post and commented that there's no way she could perform like that on 800 calories a day. He even offered to help her with a nutrition plan that would support her climbing. Jules deleted the comment, but the damage was done. People started talking, and the truth started to come out. She's been quieter on social media since then, and I think she's starting to realize that maybe she wasn't being entirely honest with herself or us about her diet. As for my friend, she's still on her weight loss journey and doing it her way, with real results and no gimmicks. My friend demands $18 for pizza, so I refuse, but he exposes my stingy habits. Turns out, I owe him more than cash. So yesterday, I got a text from my friend, let's call him John. He was like, "Hey, can you send me $18 for the pizza?" To which I responded, "When did we order pizza?" John responds with, "The pizzas I cooked at board games night." Now to preface this, 1, he offered to make pizza and host board games, which he decided to do on his own accord, and 2, did not ask anyone for money for doing so beforehand, or say it would cost $200,000. So, with a bit of conversation back and forth, since I've never had anyone ask me for money for a home-cooked meal, he said he was asking for money, since I asked him for money for fish and chips. Now, the fish and chips were not home-cooked, and it has always been the case that we pay for ourselves at a restaurant or fast food/takeout, and I would expect to give him money if it was the other way round. I mentioned this to him, and he said he sees it differently, quote, "a meal for a meal." I then asked if he has requested $18 off any of our other friends, which he said no. So I said, this is unfair, and he's changing how we usually handle these sort of situations, and specifically targeting me for some reason. And he said it was because the other friends will bring drinks and smokes, etc., and share it with him, which I do not. To which I responded, well, I don't drink or smoke, and also I've never charged you for a home-cooked meal. Then some angry messages were sent my way and we have not spoken. I can send him $18. It's not about the money. It's just how he has handled the situation, is singling me out, and especially charging me after the fact, which has never happened before and is not normal behavior. Am I the idiot for not giving my friend $18 for a home-cooked pizza? Mini update. Thanks everyone for the responses. I sent my mate the $18 and said, let's meet up in person to chat. So he agreed, he handled the situation incorrectly, and that charging for a home-cooked meal is not cool, and just not what we do in our friend group, unless otherwise stated. But everyone reading between the lines was correct. He was angry at me for not chipping in enough at gatherings, etc., which I now understand is my bad. So basically, I bought him a vape on the way to the meetup, something else I had been using of his but never supplying, and said, I'll start contributing to gatherings with snacks. We agreed to communicate better going forward, and we hugged and made up. So in conclusion, I think this was a baith. Everyone sucks here situation. He handled his communication poorly, and I didn't realize I was being a mooch, causing my friend to feel used. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Everyone sucks here. Your friend shouldn't be charging you for home-cooked meals, but it sounds like you mooch a lot. And this was his way of getting you to contribute. It's customary to bring something to a dinner party or gathering. If you don't drink or smoke, like his friends, bring a non-alcoholic drink, appetizer, or dessert. It's less about $18 and more about you being an active contributor to group events. Apologize, send him the money, and tell him from here on out you'll volunteer to bring something to share. Comment 2. Not the idiot. And one person's portion of a home-cooked pizza doesn't cost $18. I think it's good manners to at least offer to reimburse someone for ingredients if they cook for you. Either in person or through text after the party, but before he texted you this, I would have offered him a few bucks. And you are right, a restaurant is different. Everyone should be paying their own share at a restaurant. $18 isn't a lot of money, so it's weird to be making a big deal out of that. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments on my last post. They really helped me see things from a different angle. So here's what went down over the past 3 days. After I posted, I decided to just send John the $18. It wasn't worth the drama, and I wanted to clear the air. I texted him, "Hey, I've sent the money, can we meet up and talk this out?" He texted back a simple, "Sure." We met at our usual hangout spot, the park where we used to play frisbee during our high school days. John was already there, pacing back and forth like he was trying to walk off his frustration. As soon as I approached, he blurted out, "I'm sorry, man, I was out of line asking for money for the pizza." I was taken aback by his upfront apology. It was a side of John I hadn't seen since that time he accidentally broke my limited edition video game and owned up to it immediately. I nodded, accepting his apology, and we sat down on the bench that had our initials carved into it from years ago. The conversation that followed was intense. John admitted that he felt I wasn't pulling my weight at our get-togethers. He brought up the time when everyone else chipped in for a surprise birthday cake for Lisa, and I had forgotten my wallet. Or the time when we all went to the escape room, and I was short on cash, so he covered for me. I hadn't realized these moments stuck with him. I told him about how I felt singled out with the pizza money request. It was true. I never asked for money for the meals I cooked, like the big lasagna night we had when we all watched the season finale of our favorite show. But I saw his point too. I hadn't been as generous as the others, even if it wasn't intentional. Then came the compromise. I pulled out a brand new vape I had bought for him. "I know I've been using yours and never contributed," I said, handing it over. "And from now on, I'll bring snacks or something to share at our gatherings." John's eyes widened, and he accepted the vape with a surprised chuckle. "Dude, you didn't have to do that. But thanks, it means a lot. We agreed to be more upfront about money and sharing costs in the future. No more after-the-fact charges or silent resentments. It was a relief to have it all out in the open." As we stood up to leave, John pulled me into a hug. "We're good, man. Let's not let money mess up our friendship again." Brother brings kids to my child-free wedding, so husband and I unite and stand our ground. Their regret is palpable as the truth unfolds. Me, female, 27, and my husband, 30, got married last week. I have 2 brothers, Carl, 33, and Jake, 30, both married with 2 children. Jake's children are 4 and 7, while Carl's children are 6 and 8. I like spending time with my nephews, but most of the time, Carl's children aren't able to behave. I didn't want them to ruin the wedding, so my husband and I decided to not allow children under 11 at our wedding. We stated this 6 months before our wedding, so everyone had time to find someone to look after their children. A week before the wedding, Jake's babysitter got sick, and he wasn't able to find anyone else. Fortunately, Kate's sister, Hannah, 17, decided to take care of them so my brother and his wife could attend the wedding. She was very happy, since she finds weddings boring and prefers to stay at home playing with her nephews. On the day of the wedding, everything seemed to be okay until Carl and his wife arrived with their children, but some guests stopped them. I went to see them and reminded them that it's a child-free wedding. They told me I didn't give enough notice, 6 months, so they couldn't find a babysitter. I told Carl that the time was enough, and he said that I should make an exception for family. Again, I told them no. It doesn't matter that they are my nephews. No children are allowed. Jake stepped out and reminded Carl that his children aren't there for the same reason, and that he should stop acting like a child and let me have my moment. We started to fight until my parents tried to convince me to let Carl's children attend the wedding, but I refused again. Eventually, Carl and his wife accepted this and said that they would take them to Jake and Kate's house. Yes, said, not asked. Kate and Jake refused, but Carl tried to convince them by saying that Hannah is already taking care of their children, so 2 more wouldn't be a problem, and that they were ruining my wedding by refusing. Funny that he said that. Carl then called Hannah in front of us, but she refused. Carl insisted for a while, and then Hannah snapped saying that she will babysit them only after Carl and his wife educate them. When Carl replied that she is too young to understand how difficult it is to be parents, she told him to foff. We fought for another hour until they decided not to be at my wedding. The day after the wedding, Carl and his wife, my parents, and most of my family said that I am the jerk for not allowing my nephews to stay. They are also saying that Hannah is a jerk too for not wanting to take care of her nephews, even though they aren't her nephews at all, and for insulting my brother and sister-in-law. However, my brother and his wife and her family are on my side, as well as my husband's family. But my family keeps saying that I should have made an exception because all the family should have been at the ceremony. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. I don't understand why people act like this over little kids at weddings. Those things are boring as hell to them. They had ample time, tried to strong-arm you, then Hannah, and failed. They're entitled jerks who think having kids makes them super-duper special VIPs. I hope Hannah got a big old tip for telling them to F off though. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You are not splitting the family, your brother and wife are, as well as your parents. The fact that they tried to convince you to make their children stay is unbelievable. And the fact that they expected both you and Hannah to do what they want. Oh hell no, such entitled parents. Now for the update. Hey Reddit, it's been a week since I last posted about my wedding drama. And oh boy, do I have an update for you. Buckle up, because this past week has been a hectic ride. So, after the wedding, things cooled down, or so I thought. My husband and I were trying to enjoy our first week as a married couple, but my family had other plans. My mom called me up, and she was still on about how I should have let Carl's kids come to the wedding. I reminded her that we had been clear about the no kids rule from the start. She wasn't having any of it, and said that family should always come first. I couldn't believe we were still talking about this. But here's where things get juicy. 2 days into our marriage, my husband and I were having a quiet night in when we heard a knock at the door. It was Carl and his wife, unannounced and uninvited. They came to talk. I was hesitant, but I let them in, hoping we could clear the air. Carl started off by apologizing for the scene at the wedding. He admitted that they should have respected our wishes. But then, his wife chimed in, saying that they had been dealing with marital issues and that the stress had made them act out. I was taken aback. They had always seemed like the perfect couple, and here they were, in my living room, spilling their secrets. They went on to explain that their kids' behavior was a reflection of the tension at home. They had been arguing a lot, and it was affecting the kids. I felt a pang of sympathy for them. It's tough to hear that people you care about are struggling. Now, remember Hannah, my sister-in-law's sister? Well, she became the unexpected hero in all of this. After the wedding, she reached out to Carl and his wife and offered to help them find a family therapist. She even apologized for snapping at them. I was impressed by her maturity, especially after how they treated her. But wait, there's more. Jake, my other brother, wasn't too happy about Carl's sudden change of heart. He felt like Carl was only apologizing because he got caught in a tough spot. Jake confronted Carl about it, and they had a huge argument. It was like watching a tennis match, with accusations and old grudges being thrown back and forth. I had to step in and break it up before it got physical. In the midst of all this, my husband has been my rock. He's been supportive and understanding, even when my family drama threatened to overshadow our newlywed bliss. We've had some deep conversations about family and boundaries, and it's brought us even closer. Now, for the bittersweet twist. Just when things seemed to be settling down, my parents dropped a bombshell. They've been having financial troubles and were counting on Carl to help them out. With Carl's marital issues, that's not going to happen. They were hoping the wedding would bring everyone together and somehow fix everything. Talk about unrealistic expectations. So, here I am, stuck in the middle. My parents are upset. Carl and his wife are working on their marriage, and Jake is still fuming. My husband and I are trying to navigate our new life together with all this chaos around us. To top it all off, my family is now giving Hannah the cold shoulder for her role in everything. She's just a teenager, and she's feeling really guilty about the whole situation. I've been trying to reassure her that she did nothing wrong, but it's hard when your own family is against you. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.